My name is Chell Matz. I'm a sculptor and filmmaker. This is a series where I talk about art, personal experiences, and creativity. Hello again. Fuck, that's always so weird. Hi. Hi. Next question in this series is oh, okay. I like this one. I remember like these are questions I've came up with myself, or at least just topics to talk about by myself. It's not like a Q&A of my fans because I don't have any. Why virtual reality and 3D printing is the next topic. Okay, let's put the little screen away. So why virtual reality and 3D printing? Virtual reality was so sculpting, art making is my ultimate background, but sculpture within art is my main focus. In a lot of just like, it's my major in college. It's kind of what became my identity because of majors in art college. It kind of like it isolates you from other artists who aren't within your medium, which is odd. But anyways, I've always had an interest in digital sculpting, and just I've tried it a handful of times, and I really, it just doesn't work for me. Blender is really like what I would say is the best digital sculpt. Oh no, ZBrush is probably the best digital sculpture software, and then Blender is a good close second, and then after that I have no idea. And I'm sure other people disagree with me on the hierarchy. That's okay. So it's never worked for me because of the two-dimensional screen. It's a flat screen, and inside of it you're drawing with a pen, and that doesn't make sense to me. And you're pulling and squishing things, and that doesn't into like to look around your sculpture. You have to use your pen, and there's something about that just throws me off, and my brain has a really hard time processing it. Now, if I put a lot of time to it, yeah, I'm sure I would get better at it. The couple hours that I've put into it, I've gotten better at it, but I just don't enjoy it, and that's enough for me to avoid it right now, at least. So when I saw that you can sculpt in virtual reality, that was my ticket. And I knew it would be something that I would be absolutely obsessed with. And so that started my journey through, I didn't have a computer, proper, like a desktop computer. I have really crappy Mac laptop that my school made me get. And so that started down the road, and I've been needing a desktop for a while, and so I've been needing a desktop for a while because just processing videos just takes way too long on my slow laptop, and then in various other reasons, and you need to upgrade sometimes. And so I finally upgraded, got my desktop, and then a couple months later, I finally got virtual reality. I found my buddy found a really good deal from some dude a state over, selling a full virtual reality HTC Vive set for $250. And so we go over to Wisconsin, and pull an all-nighter just to drive out there. It was like 3 hour drive out and 3 hour drive back, and we got back like fucking 7 in the morning. It was ridiculous. And so finally getting into virtual reality, I had to search for what was the better program out there, because the problem is, Oculus Medium is definitely like up there. It's very polished. It's very, very good. They have a larger team working on that. But with my HTC Vive, what I found out was Oculus Medium is only for Oculus. I was unaware of that until after I got the Vive. So I had to find a different program, and luckily there's like a handful. And I tried Masterpiece VR, and I tried another one. I forget what it's called. Canova, I think is what it's called. They both were okay. What really disappointed me was their lack of one was tools, and then what was it? The lack of the ability to scale up in detail, or vector percentage. I don't know what the right term for it, but just like detail. I couldn't get small enough details into my sculptures, and that was really bumming me out. So I think it was like $20 and $30 fucking wasted. And then, but it was good to learn. I did a couple hours of sculpting in them, so I did learn a little bit in them and realized that they just weren't for me. And so then finally I fell upon Kodan. Kodan is on Steam, and it is a wonderful program. Sadly, like, their team is tiny because it's still in alpha 2 fucking years later, and it's still like there's a lot of bugs, but it works for me, and I know, I understand the bugs, and I know the precautions that I need to take within working with this program. And so it clicked. It was amazing. First, it was just small sketches here and there, and then I was getting really, really into these sculptures, but there was something that was just missing, something that was bothering me, and it was definitely the fact that I could not hold these sculptures after I was done. There was no physicality to these digital sculptures, and that really, I lost, after a handful of hours working with virtual reality sculpting, I was losing my interest. And so then I had the idea, I think I was watching someone else, I think it was Jazza, and he sculpted in virtual reality and then 3D printed it. That's amazing. It just blew my mind, and I think I knew about it. I think I had seen the video, but I just didn't put 2 and 2 together at the time because I didn't have virtual reality or 3D printing when I had watched the video the first time. And so finally, I watched the video again, unrelated to what I was doing, I think. I don't know, but and so then I needed a 3D printer. And so I had to look. I did it was a full day of research on 3D printers to find something within my budget, and just finding the right one. And when I say a full day, I mean 8 a.m. to fucking 6 p.m. 10 hours of it was nighttime. It might have been 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or something it was a lot of time. Studied just researching 3D printers. But this was going from not knowing anything about 3D printers to now I know enough to buy one. So it was a lot. It was a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of reading articles, a lot of discovery that had to happen within such a short period of time. It wasn't like I I had a deadline or anything. I was just so into this. I needed to print my sculptures. I needed to. And so I I found out about the Ender 3, and that's a good one. It's really good, $200. It was within my budget. And then I found, like, while learning about the Ender 3, I learned about two other printers that were basically like other companies' versions of the Ender 3, and their idea of what would be better. And so there's another one that was kind of okay, but then the one that I ended up going with was the JG Aurora Magic. It's a weird name, but the reason why I went with that one instead of the Ender 3 was all of the electronic components were in the bottom, including the battery. They were all in the bottom, encased. Nothing was exposed. That you can still flip it over and get into it. So that was another thing that I really wanted to, was just in case if I had to do maintenance on it. But like everything was encased otherwise, and the battery was on the bottom. So that, and then also the spool was not held on the top, it was held on the side. And so all of this weight was put on the bottom. And so that made it very stable. You know, there was a lot less chance for it to wiggle as much. As well as the JG Aurora has a filament runout detection. The Ender 3 does not. And so what I'm able to do, and with that runout detection, it also pauses and keeps the progress that I have on my current print. So say I accidentally unplug it, or the SD card comes out, or I run out of filament. When I put filament in, or replug it in, or re-put the SD card in, you just push a button and it continues where it left off. I don't lose all of my progress in my print. So that was the main reason why I got the JG Aurora, not the Ender 3. So once I finally bought it, and it was in my, I think I got it the next day, put it together, and then I had to play with it. I had to figure out like how it worked. It took me like a week, probably a week before I felt comfortable printing my own sculptures, because I just wanted to print what I knew were safe things to be printing. And finally I figured it all out. You know, I hadn't taken a class yet on how 3D printing works, so like I had to teach myself everything that had go into it, which granted it's not a whole lot, but it takes time. A lot of finicky businesses that go on within 3D printing. So I figured it out, and then then that fucking blew up my interest in virtual reality sculpting, because now I can make tangible objects that I can hold in a virtual reality, in a virtual world, and take them from that world and make them real. And that was so important to me. And now, through that, you know, I've started, I have a rather large, pretty good sized series on 3D printed sculptures that I'm actually making, and I'm going to start a Kickstarter soon, which is really cool. I'm really excited about that. That I hope people can really, well, I hope people like it. I think they, you know, so far people have been liking it. I've sold a few of them, and I think this can be something really, really good. So yeah, I mean, first it started with, I needed to sculpt digitally, but I didn't know how to do it in a way that I would love. And then I learned about virtual reality sculpting, and I knew I would love it. And then once I had it, I needed a way to make these objects tangible, and so I needed a 3D printer. So the 3D printer came from the virtual reality, And without the 3D printer, I probably would not be sculpting in virtual reality right now. No, I really don't think I would be. I think it would be just some silly gimmick that's interesting and fun, and I just would not. There's also an aspect of showing it to people that I find very, like, not everyone. I can go places and show people these sculptures. I don't have to bring them to my home and have them put on my goggles and show them within that world. There's something about taking them out of that virtual world that makes them so interesting to me.